Do I look like a real boy, Papa?
What's up, boogers? DenDenBMX here. Today, we're doing a guitar collection video, because I have far too many of them. And I've been meaning to sell off a decent chunk of my collection for a hot minute, but I've waited to do it until I made this video. So we're gonna go through and look at all the guitars that I currently possess, and we are going to start with the ones that I am going to be selling. And if you guys are interested in getting your hands on any of the guitars that I'm gonna be selling, I will link my reverb shop down below. That is most likely where I'm gonna be listing them in the coming days and or weeks. Now, I don't want to dilly-dally far too much. I want to get into this video pretty quickly, but I just want to say, as always, thank you guys so much for all the recent love and support you've shown me on all my videos. It truly gets my heart bricked up. As always, if you guys go on to enjoy this video, definitely let me know. Help the engagement on this video. Help me compete with all the bigger guitar channels out there by leaving a like, leave a comment, give me your thoughts and opinions, share the video around, and if you regularly watch this channel and you haven't already subscribed, then I'm going to get the heaviest Norlin era Les Paul that I could possibly find, and I'm gonna drop it square on your berries. We are getting so horrendously close to 20,000 subs, and I may lactate when we get there, honestly. So any help towards that is greatly appreciated. But I'm done being a tool. We got a guitar collection to look through. So let's get started with the guitars that I'm going to be letting go of. Ow, fuck. Now the first guitar that I'm going to be letting go of is this 2024 Epiphone Les Paul Custom. It's from that new premium line of Epiphones. They all have the open book headstock. Now, I'm not even gonna front. I absolutely love the way this guitar looks. It's my absolute favorite thing about this guitar. Like a white Les Paul Custom already looks pretty stinky, but they do hit a little bit different when they've got the open book headstock and the full-size diamond inlay. I bought this guitar like the day this new premium line of Epiphones came out, and I made a whole series on this guitar, reviewing it, comparing it to other guitars, and I came to the conclusion that I didn't really like it. The pickups are a little too dark sounding to me, the neck shape is a little too big for my tastes, and not only are these Grover kidney button tuners ugly, they also don't really work that well. And besides Epiphone's QC issues, everything else wrong with this guitar is kind of just like a me thing. Like, it's an okay guitar. Like, you fix the tuners, get new pickups, this thing's gonna be amazing. But I don't know, it just didn't really hit right for me personally. So this is definitely gonna be one that ends up on the reverb shop. The next guitar that I'm going to be parting ways with is this Ibanez Tim Henson TOD10. Some of you may remember when I made the new Guitar Day video about this guitar, and I'm not gonna lie, it's a really cool guitar, and it's very unique, and it sounds very, very nice. But I just don't play this thing, man. Your average incel has been touched by a human being more than this guitar has. I shouldn't have wiped down this guitar so you guys could have seen how dusty it was getting. Like, I made a video about this guitar, and then I used it in a guitar cover for like a second, and I haven't touched it since. Which is actually a shame because it's a really cool guitar, and I think it deserves to be owned by someone who's gonna love it and play it every single day. So this is another one that I'm gonna find a new owner for. Now, the next guitar that I'm going to be rehoming is this Schecter Reaper-6. And there's a couple different versions of the Schecter Reaper, but this is like the most basic version. It's just 6 strings with a hardtail. And I did play this guitar for a while, but just like the Tim Henson, it just eventually ended up sitting there collecting dust, and I really haven't touched this guitar in a while, which is a crying shame because, again, this is a really, really cool, really nice playing guitar. And it sounds pretty freaking mean too, because the guy who had it before me installed a Seymour Duncan Black Winter into the bridge. As much as I loved this guitar when I first got it. I just ain't playing it, man. And just like the Tim Henson, it deserves to be loved and played every single day. Now, some people might crap their entire ass when they hear that I'm going to be selling off this next guitar. But the next guitar that I'm going to be getting rid of is none other than my Gibson Les Paul Standard. Yeah, I am more than likely going to sell this guitar. Now, one of my most popular guitar videos is me unboxing this guitar. And I'm sure many people who watch that video are pretty curious as to why I'm going to be selling this guitar. Now, much like the video series that I made on that Epiphone Les Paul Custom, I want to make a video series on this Gibson Les Paul Standard. I'll make a couple videos updating you guys about my thoughts and opinions on this guitar and directly comparing it to a couple other single cuts that I have in my collection. And in that video series, I will explain how and why my thoughts and views on Gibson as a brand have changed quite drastically in the 3 years that I've owned this guitar. But for now, I'll give you a little TLDR. Gibson used to be my #1 brand. And now they just kind of give me the ick. So those are all the guitars that I'm currently planning to let go of within my collection. For all the other guitars in this guitar collection video, I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. The next guitar in the collection is this Fender acoustic, and in a surprising little twist, this one isn't mine. This is actually my roommate's guitar. I just figured I'd throw it in because, you know, it's another guitar that's in this house. And it's a pretty neat little acoustic guitar, I can't lie. I grab this thing myself quite often. I do apologize for what happens next. Up next on the docket, we have another Epiphone Les Paul Custom. This is the cheaper 2020 version that has the Kalamazoo headstock. As you may or may not know, this used to be a white Epiphone Les Paul Custom, and I sprayed some tinted nitro lacquer over top of that white to give it that real nice, heavily aged, heavily yellowed white Les Paul Custom look. I wanted this guitar to look like I've been chain smoking next to it since I was a toddler, and I think I did a pretty good job at that. And I like this cheaper Epiphone Les Paul Custom a hell of a lot more than I like that $1,300 Epiphone Les Paul Custom. The only thing that I wish this guitar had that the other has is the open book headstock. But that is a purely visual thing. In my opinion, this version sounds and plays better than the $1,300 version. And it's still got the proper full-size diamond inlay, which is really the only thing that I need visually on a Les Paul Custom. Up next is my 2014 Gibson Les Paul Studio. This guitar has a fun little story. You see, when I was just a little tyke getting into guitar, I quickly amassed a collection of like really cheap $200 to $300 guitars. And $200 to $300 guitars made 10 plus years ago are not the same quality as the $200 to $300 guitars made today. Back then they sucked ass. So I decided to sell off all of them, and I used that money to get myself my very first Gibson Les Paul. And boy, has this guitar had some problems over the years. The high E string buzzes, and I've totally maxed out the slack on the neck of this guitar trying to fix that. So I think the next thing I need to do is get a new nut for this thing. An inlay has popped out on this thing before. And while the tuners on this guitar do have the proper keystone button shape, it would be nice if they, worked a little bit better. It's got all that gross coil tap and coil split stuff. It's like a disgustingly Jeskowitz era Les Paul. It's a 2014, so it's got that like 120th anniversary Gibson inlay on the 12th fret, which is kind of neat. I gave it the natural binding mod last year. It's a really thin nitro finish, so it's aging quite a bit on the back, which I love. And yeah, this is a ratty little Gibson, but despite all of its Gibson issues, I still absolutely adore this guitar. It would be the absolute last guitar that I would ever sell. But yeah, this is Blair, and I love her crusty ass. Up next is the single most important and sentimental guitar that I currently own and will ever own. This is a 2012 ESP LTD EC-1000. Her name is Veronica because my grandma's name was Veronica, and she gave me this guitar for my birthday the same year that she ended up dying from cancer. My grandmother was a very, very, very important person to me, and this is the last birthday gift that she ever got me. I will sell every other guitar in my collection if I need to. I will not sell this one. I better change the meme back to what it was before, because that's not the only ESP LTD we're going to be looking at in today's video. In fact, the very next guitar in my collection is another LTD EC-1000. This one specifically is an EC-1000T in Satin Honeyburst. And I absolutely love this guitar. I got it used for a really, really good price. The flame top on this guitar is just and I love that this guitar has the looks of a classic old fart dad Les Paul, but it is spec'd to the gills with modern day features. I play it so much more often than I play my Gibson Les Paul Standard. And in that video series we're gonna make on the Gibson Les Paul Standard, this is gonna be one of the guitars that we directly compare it to. And yeah, this guitar fucks like a truck. This guitar's name is Diora, because my very first dog's name was Diora. And she passed away a couple years ago, and her fur was like the same color as a Honeyburst guitar, so that's why I named it that, yeah. We're getting into the home stretch, boys. There's only 3 more guitars we're going to look at, and the first one is this big ol' honker right here. This is a Gretsch Electromatic Jet 30-inch baritone. I could have never imagined myself owning a Gretsch because the music that people play on Gretsch guitars has never really been my thing. It's okay if it's your thing, but it's just never really been my thing. That is until people discovered that you can take their 30-inch baritone and tune it down to drop fuck. This is easily the most brutal sounding guitar that I own because thanks to the 30-inch baritone scale length it has, I can tune this thing down an entire octave from standard tuning. And it sounds so horrendously thick. I'm getting bricked up just thinking about it. Now the second to last guitar that we're going to be looking at today is yet another Schecter Reaper, but this one is the Multiscale 7-string version. This guitar and my Gretsch Baritone are like my modern metal guitars. This is the guitar I use for like Korn, Ice Nine Kills, Sleep Token, Spirit Box stuff. I either leave it in B standard or drop A, and then I use a transpose dial on my plugins to down tune it. And that's because while these pickups sound really, really good when you're in like B standard or A standard or drop A or something like that, once you get down to like drop F sharp, these pickups kind of get a little muddy. So I kind of want to swap them out. The only issue is I haven't found a set of pickups that fits this cavity. I didn't realize that multi-scale guitar pickups are usually like a string size bigger than they need to be. So when I got a 7-string set of Fishman pickups for this guitar, they didn't fit. I'm hoping the 8-string set will fit, but I don't know. That's like my one thing about this guitar is I just wish it had a set of pickups that were a little bit clearer and a little bit crispier. Because when you down tune real low on this guitar, it does get a tad bit muddy. But other than that, I absolutely love this guitar. Now the last 5, 6, 7 guitars we talked about, I do rotate them in and out pretty often and I play all of them pretty regularly. But this last guitar that we're going to look at is the one that I easily play the most. And shocker, it's another ESP LTD. This is my EC-1000T CTM in vintage gold satin. This guitar is identical to the EC-1000T that we talked about a second ago, but instead of having the visual appointments of a Les Paul Standard, this one has the visual appointments of a Les Paul Custom. It felt like I had this guitar on pre-order for like 7 years because they revealed this guitar at the beginning of 2022, but they didn't actually start making them until the beginning of 2023. My other two EC-1000s are a very close second, but this one's got to be the one that I play the most often. It did come with Fishman pickups, which I do absolutely love, but I threw in this brushed gold EMG headset into this just because this guitar is a satin aged white finish, so I thought it'd be nice to have a satin gold set of pickups in this guitar. And I absolutely love this thing, man. And this one's got a name. Her name's Ruthie. So that is my current guitar collection in the year of our Lord 2024. I definitely need to size down, so if you're interested in those first 4 guitars that we talked about, definitely keep an eye on my Reverb page. That is where I'll be selling those guitars in the coming days and or weeks. Real quick, I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to Cosmic Steez, A Horse Running, Jet, Solar Flare, Jan Chocolate, Bandage Knives, Suno Verma, Rob Heath, Bad Joke Gaming, Den Licks Dicks, and Brandon's Balisong Corner. Those are my current channel members, and their support really does mean a lot. If you want to join these guys, get a shout out in my longer videos, get access to my occasional members only videos, which are almost all exclusively guitar videos, by the way, and you just want to help support the channel in a bigger way, and you can go down there, click the join button. Tiers start as low as 3 schmeckles. And if you don't want to join a membership, but you still want to support the channel in that way, just as like a one-time thing, there's the super thanks button down there. It's like a little tip jar. But regardless if you guys do any of that stuff or not, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. I really hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you did enjoy, let me know. Help out the engagement on this video. Help me compete with all the bigger guitar channels out there by leaving a like, leave a comment, share this video around. Make sure you're subscribed. We are getting sexually close to 20,000 subs, and I think I'm done being a tool. Yeah, thank you guys once again so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.